let's go ahead and start our PLC meeting for the day with a review of our norms.
All right, our norms are active listening, maintain integrity, respect one another, and our work together. And
Before we bring closure to our meeting today, let's just do kind of a high-level overview of where have we been with the PDSA cycle. We started with a SMART goal, and we defined the system. And we used a tool for that called the flowchart. And basically, as a team, you outlined what were some of the key steps in the process of teaching in the area of language. And so we documented how do we do it today. And that's important. When we're defining a system, we're not defining what we wish we had, what we hoped we had, but what we do have. So defining the system, the quality tool flowchart answers the question, how do we currently teach the area of language? Step 2 was once we knew how a process was operating, we needed some baseline data. And so we collected 2 sets of data. Nicole, why don't you put this one up here? And these were the 4 areas of the rubric, right? Content, language, mechanics, and process. Mm-hmm. And then we collected some data points that we put into a run chart so we could see how does this system operate and what kind of results does this system produce. And so this serves as our baseline data. But before we wanted to do something different in our system, we used some tools that would help us get to root cause. And those were the cause and effect diagram and the relations diagram. Deanne, do you want to take those and let's place those in this quadrant of the PDSA circle, analyze cause. Because what we wanted to do was ask the question, what do we think is causing the results that we were seeing here? So out of the fishbone diagram came, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 potential root causes, and we used a relations diagram to say which of these might be influencing or causing the issue, and which of these might be just effects. Because we know if we don't treat root causes, the problems will continue to come back. So what did we determine was a root cause for the results that we were getting when we collected our baseline?
It was the time restrictions.
Okay. So we really focused on time restrictions because we decided it was influencing all of these other factors. So out of that, we went and we did some research. We captured an improvement theory. And do one of you want to just summarize the research piece of how did we determine what would be an appropriate number of minutes to focus on that core root cause of time?
We just read some information on Reggie Routman and her theory in writing, and that 50 minutes is a good amount of time for us to focus on writing, both whole group and individualized small group.
Okay, so we went and we did some research. Why don't we take that and let's capture that on our storyboard so we can see that we didn't just make this up. We said, what is it that we could use that would give us some guidance on next steps? Then we came up with an improvement theory. And that improvement theory was if we add that 20 minutes to give us a core block of 50 minutes, that we would likely see better results. So we had an improvement theory and an action plan. Do you want to tell us about that and put that up here?
Yes, we decided to spend more time on our writing blocks. We switched around our times a little bit, so we found more time for writing, and then we also implemented small groups and focused on more individualized attention.
Mm-hmm. So we went out into our classrooms, we were implementing this new strategy. We waited several weeks for that treatment to take effect, and then we said, let's go back and study the results and compare it to that original baseline data. Let's take a look at that data set that we collected and talk about some of the results we saw from our improvement theory. Becky, you want to kind of summarize the growth? We were somewhere around a 2 on average on the rubric, and we moved it to
2.5, 3 points on average.
Good. So we definitely saw that this action plan, based on these root causes, were getting us better results than we had to our baseline. And so that moved us into standardizing the improvement and saying, let's make this the new way that we're going to do this process because it got us better results when we made this change than we saw in our baseline. So now we're bringing the cycle back to a close where we started today. Once we standardize those improvements, we made a decision that we're going to have a new SMART goal, and that new SMART goal is going to focus on mechanics, because it was the next area in need of improvement. And that really completes the PDSA cycle.